Hello, I'm Julia Woning and today you can find a real-time version of my grapes that I have started in my first live on YouTube. The first 30 minutes I explain how I work with pan pastels on Pastelmat paper and how you can apply the pan pastel, and the rest of 1.5 hours is without comment, but I can show you how I finish this piece. Hope you enjoy the video. Until the next time, bye! Color on my paper. Don't do the whole thing, or if you do a background, don't take large areas. Don't go larger than your tool. I guess that's the most important thing that I can. And rub it in very lightly with a light touch. If you rub it in with a hard hand, your soft tools will deteriorate, so be aware of that. Now I want to make a darker color. Let's see if this color is, it's a little bit bright, so I will use a darker green again, and with a light blender, and you see you use just a light amount of pan pastel, and because there is already an underlayer, you can mix those colors very easily. See, like this? And this is only because there is an underlayer. And don't go too dark yet, but we will see. Go to the other one. Just again, a little bit with the blender and place down the first layer. Here it's much lighter, so I'm using white as an underlayer here, because there is some mixture of those greenish colors in my soft tool, and it will be mixing with the white. If you prefer, for example, in a different subject, you want a real white surface here and not a mixture of a green because there's already green on your soft tool, then you have to use a new soft tool. That's why you never can have enough soft tools. So be aware of that. Again, a light lay down and a very loose hand, so be very kind to your soft tools on the paper. And again, some greenish color. Maybe this one also in the corner in here. More green. And because there is already a lay down, you can apply an extra layer like this. I will try here several grapes, and then I will play with those brown branches. Again, some green here with the blender in combination, and I'm guessing it's darker, so I won't try it here, but more in here, in between those grapes. And rather building it up than go quickly and a lot of surfaces. So small areas to cover with the pan pastel. And you can apply it later on, so you can build it up. Again, you see what I do, tick, tick, tick. So there is a mixture, a light mixture on my soft tool, and I place it down again on here. Normally I would rotate my drawing so it's easier to access those areas, but for the camera it's not easy, so I will try to do it like this. So what I'm doing is very light pan pastel to cover the white of those areas. Again, the blender and some color, and again on this side, maybe more. Always a mixture with the blender. Be aware when you use too much blender, you use too much pan pastel, and then probably your paper could be full. So it's experience how much blender or how much pan pastel you could use. And it looks easy, I know, but I'm experienced, so just try it, because it's okay. The pens are not cheap. They have a price, but you use very little of the pigments, and they don't dry out or break down if you don't let them fall. But you know, you can work with them over and over, and I think it's very nice. It's very easy to work, because I have a studio, but not everyone has a studio at home for the artwork. And it's very easy to put away, because you can put a lid on it and the next day you can try it again. So it's very easy access, and a very nice texture, very nice feel to it to create those pan pastel projects. Let me see. Here I have to darken it, but be aware of it. If I'm darkening this, it will be difficult to use the same soft tool for the lighter color. So normally I have two soft tools, one with the darker color, one with the lighter color. But for now I try to place those darker colors in here with a little blender. And you can see I'm turning around my soft tool to get those thin areas in here, like this. I just sorry, I just created the live for Wednesday, and I thought by myself, okay, when I go live on Wednesday, maybe it's nice to do a tryout or just get acquainted with YouTube Live. So that's why I thought by myself, you want to draw? Yeah, just put it on YouTube Live. So now I have visitors and people can watch me how I create this. Like this and this. Put it on here. For those who aren't acquainted with the PanPastel, I have written a book, PanPastel Workshop. That's available in Dutch and in English, and it's available around the world. There where you can buy your PanPastels, you can order, or they can order for you the PanPastel book. And this is the PanPastel book, PanPastel Workshop, with lots of tips and tricks about how you can work with pan pastels in color, in black and white, and in all kinds of surfaces. So if you want to have more information about pan pastel, this one would be very nice. So these are the first colors, and I will work out those. Normally, I will work the whole area with pan pastels, and later on I will work with pastel pencils. But for now, I want to show you just the first grapes, and then I will switch to my pastel pencils. Let me get some darker color in here. I want to have some contrast in those little grapes, and then you can see different styles or different layers of how you can work with pan pastels and those pastel pencils. Like like this. Let me see where there are darker colors. Just bring some darker tones in here, underneath here, a little bit here. I'm guessing these are the right layers. I can see here there is much more light, so I will switch my tools, take some white on top of it and place it a little bit on top of those, or on that grape in here, to get a lighter color. But if I can't get it lighter, probably I can bring more contrast in the grapes by making it darker. So I can apply some darker color in here, in those corners. And I want to try as much as I can to work with the soft tools before I flip over to my pastel pencils, because that's a different recipe and that works differently. So I always try to work as long as possible with my pen pastels and my soft tools in my work before I make the switch to the pastel pencils. And I know there are pastel artists, they just use the pen pastels as an underlayer and do a lot with the pastel pencils. Just do that what you prefer and what you like. This is my way how I work with those pen pastels. So mostly I work about 90 or 85% with my pen pastels and a few with pastel pencils. Some white, some blender, a little bit in here. Place around, and you can see it's not white because there is color on my soft tool, and that's why I transfer it already on my paper, on the Pastelmat paper, and now I get some color and place it again on the paper like this. More green and more white. Let me apply some lighter tones in here, something like that, and here also. Get that light in those grapes on top of here. What you can see that's different between the regular pastel, the classical pastels, and the PanPastel is that you can mix with each other, but you can't place white on top of a color that's already on the surface because they will mixture. We will rub it in with those soft tools, so you always have a mixture with the underlayer. So if you apply real white, then you have to erase it. Then you can apply a new white color on your Pastelmat paper. So it always will mixture with the underlayer that you already have placed on the paper. And that's different with the pastel, classical pastel. What also is different, there is almost no dust. So it's very dust free, or it's not completely free, but very less than the normal classical pastels. So that's, for now I will switch to a different tool with a smaller point, and that's the oval one. And you can see already there is a darker color on here, and I will take some color. Let me place it upwards and take a sip of my tea. It's getting cold already, my tea. It's already almost in half an hour. That's why my tea is cold. Okay, for now I will take some darker color because I want to make sure that those darker colors are going down there. I don't want to take too much brown because that will be too warm and comes in front, and I want to make more depth, so I will take use of a little bit of purple and brown. And to make sure it's not too dark, I will rub it down on my tissue paper, a combination of dark brown and dark purple, and place it in here in those corners where the dark contrast is in the grapes. So purple and brown. And why not only brown? Brown is too warm and it will come forward, and a cool color goes back. So that's the coloring theory. If it's a cold color, you will get depth. If it's a warm color, it comes to you. And what happens now is that this one will go back in the surface of the drawing, and just clean my tool. And now I will mix it with the color that's already on my paper, and I can blend it all out. I don't use the blender, I don't use any color. I just use my dark tool that already cleaned it up on my tissue paper and blend it all out to get the darker color. So if you want to get more light in that grape, don't apply only white. Also place some darker color. It's always a combination to get depth in your drawing. If the light and dark colors next to each other are in the same, or on the good spot, or in the same contrast values. So that's important. So place some darker tone in here. It's very small, but it works well. Then you get depth in your project. Again with the same tool, and be aware that the grape is round or oval, but is it really oval? Is there not a difference in form? And be aware of that. So always watching to your reference photo. And there are some lines in here. Just place those lines in here. A little bit of brown, like this, building it up. Maybe more green, again here. And you know, with this tool I don't want to go into the white, but in the darker tones I can get with this tool, because it's a very dark tool. So that's I switch between dark and light tools. For now, I'm guessing this is okay. Maybe some lines in here. Maybe some darker tones in here too. On top of it. And I'm guessing now I will go, oh, maybe that grape. And a little bit of purple. Just a little bit in this corner. Ooh, that was too much. Sometimes it's for me also difficult to see how much product I could use. No problem. I can look if I can correct it, or if it's really too much, and it's not really too much, but I can show you what you can do then, is you can use a kneadable eraser and just put it down, something like this, and then it will take the most of excess of the dark color away from the paper and your pen pastel, and you lighten up, and then you can apply again some pen pastel. So everything is correctable. Pen pastel is very easy to erase with a kneadable eraser, or with an electric eraser, or with a ordinary eraser. So, and working with the pen pastel on Pastelmat paper, it's very how do you call it? You can change a lot, you can correct a lot, and you can lay down a lot of layers with pen pastel on Pastelmat paper. So that's why I think pen pastel and Pastelmat paper is for me the best combo. But there are several papers where you can work. Pen pastel you can use on several undergrounds, so it's very easy to work on canvas, on ordinary paper, very beautiful with encrusting, with beeswax. So there are several combinations possible with those pen pastels. I'm guessing it's time to go to the pastel pencils. Let me see if I can place a little bit of brown color in that branch in here to get a more acquaintance with those. Let me see what colors. I've used this one. I'm now using the burnt ochre from the Derwent Pastel. There is no reference in hard or softness in pastel pencils like with the graphite. So that's why many pastel artists have several brands working with with pastel pencils, because the reception, that's a difficult one. How do you call it? The mixture of the pastels is different in every brand. So one brand is harder, the other one is softer of the pastels, and they have a difference in tone value. So there is a different in color. So that's why pastel pencil artists have several brands of pastel pencils. I prefer to work with the Derwent because I'm also Derwent ambassador, because I already worked a lot with the Derwent pencils for many years. Since my academy, I graduated in '94, so almost 30 years I work with the Derwent supplies. So yeah, I'm in love with those Derwent products. And this one is not too soft, not too hard, and you can really draw beautiful lines and colors. And sometimes I use the Stabilo or the Caran for the finishing touch sometimes. The Chinese white is a really must-have. But yeah. For now, I place some mid-tone browns, so not too dark, not too light, just to get acquainted with those branches of those grapes like this, and line around the grape, because this grape is sharp, so we have to have a very nice outline. And to rub the pastel of the pastel pencils in the paper, you could use the soft tools, but I prefer to use the rubber one, and that's a color shaper with a rubber tip like this, and then you can apply the pastel pencils much more in the groove of the pastel paper and without taking too much off the paper. So that's what I prefer, rather than to use those paper stumps, because the paper stumps will rub off the pastel paper. But that's my experience. I've seen many pastel artists working with those paper stumps on the pastel paper. Just try it and see what's fine for you. Okay, let me get a darker color like a chocolate, like pastel pencil, and apply it in here. Just place those colors in line. There, what you can see on the photograph. And try to captivate this atmosphere of the little branch, like here and here, like this, something like that, underneath here, in here. So thank you for watching. From now on, this is the second day that I work on these grapes. Hope you enjoyed the first part of the video. No comment now, but watch how I created my grapes with PanPastel and the Derwent Pastel pencils. Until the next time, bye!